Most people think an intelligent woman is the one who talks the most, knows the answer to everything, or always has something clever to say. But what if that's completely wrong? What if some of the strangest things a woman does are actually signs that her mind is operating differently? Maybe she disappears for hours and doesn't feel the need to explain herself. Maybe she can sit alone for an entire evening without feeling lonely. Maybe she questions things that everyone else accepts without a second thought. Maybe she suddenly stops arguing with people, not because she has nothing to say, but because she has realized that not every person deserves access to her energy. And here's the part most people don't understand. A highly intelligent woman can look completely ordinary from the outside, but inside her mind, she may be observing, analyzing, questioning, and connecting things that other people never even notice. That's why some of her habits can appear strange. Her silence can look like insecurity. Her solitude can look like loneliness. Her questions can look like rebellion. Her boundaries can look like arrogance. And her decision to walk away can look like she doesn't care. But sometimes, the truth is completely different. She cares deeply. She simply learned that caring doesn't mean tolerating everything. She learned that being kind doesn't mean being available to everyone. And she learned that protecting her peace isn't selfish. Today, we're going to uncover 10 strange habits that often reveal a highly intelligent woman's way of thinking. And pay close attention to the final few, because they reveal something far deeper than intelligence. They reveal emotional maturity. The first strange habit is that she spends a lot of time alone, not because she hates people, not because she thinks she's better than everyone else. She simply doesn't need constant stimulation from other people to feel complete. A highly intelligent woman can sit alone with her thoughts and actually enjoy it. While others immediately reach for their phones, start another conversation, or search for something to distract themselves, she can remain in silence, because silence doesn't frighten her. Silence gives her space to think. And when a woman becomes comfortable with her own mind, she becomes much harder to manipulate. She doesn't need someone else's approval to decide what she believes. She doesn't need a crowd to tell her who she is. And she doesn't enter relationships simply because she's afraid of being alone. There is a difference between being lonely and being alone. Loneliness is needing someone to fill an emptiness. Solitude is being comfortable enough with yourself that you don't need another person to escape your own thoughts. The second strange habit is that she questions everything. She doesn't automatically believe something because everyone else believes it. She doesn't accept a statement simply because someone said it with confidence. She asks why. Why does this work? Why should I accept this? Why am I reacting this way? Why does this person behave differently around different people? Why am I staying in a situation that keeps hurting me? That constant questioning can make her appear difficult. But intelligence isn't simply knowing more information. It's knowing when the information you're given deserves to be questioned. A highly intelligent woman doesn't blindly follow the crowd. She observes. She compares. She thinks. Then she decides. And this habit protects her from one of the biggest dangers in life: living according to someone else's expectations. The third strange habit is that she isn't afraid to change her mind. A woman who changes her opinion after learning something new isn't necessarily confused. Sometimes she is thinking. Highly intelligent people understand that being wrong is not a personal failure. Refusing to change after discovering better information is the real failure. So when she says, "I was wrong," don't underestimate those words. They require more strength than pretending to know everything. She doesn't protect her ego at the expense of truth. She would rather lose an argument and gain understanding than win an argument and remain ignorant. That is maturity, and that is intelligence. The fourth habit is that she notices small details. You may tell her something once and forget about it. She won't. She remembers the way you changed your tone. She remembers the sentence you avoided. She remembers the contradiction between what you said and what you did. She notices patterns. And this is why highly intelligent women can sometimes seem unusually observant. They're not necessarily trying to analyze everyone. Their minds simply collect information. They notice what repeats. They notice what doesn't fit. They notice when someone's behavior suddenly changes. And eventually, patterns become obvious. That's why you should never assume that a quiet woman isn't paying attention. She may not react immediately. She may simply be processing what she sees. And when she finally speaks, she may already understand the situation better than you expected. But here's where it becomes even more interesting. Noticing patterns is one thing. Knowing what those patterns mean and controlling how you respond to them is something else entirely. And that's where the next habits begin to reveal the deeper side of an intelligent woman's mind. The fifth strange habit is that she gets bored with shallow conversations. This doesn't mean she can't enjoy small talk. Of course she can. But if every conversation remains on the surface, eventually she wants something deeper. She wants to understand how people think, why they believe, what they fear, what they want, what they learned from their failures, what kind of person they are becoming. She isn't necessarily looking for complicated conversations every minute. She's looking for meaning. Highly intelligent women often aren't attracted to noise. They're attracted to substance. Give them a conversation that challenges their thinking, and you'll see their energy change. Their questions become deeper. Their curiosity becomes stronger. Because their mind isn't looking merely for information. It's looking for understanding. The sixth strange habit is that she sometimes talks to herself. Yes, she may think out loud. She may explain a problem to herself. She may rehearse a difficult conversation. She may ask herself questions that nobody else can hear. And while someone watching from the outside might think this is strange, there is often a simple reason behind it. Speaking thoughts aloud can help organize them. Instead of allowing 20 different ideas to fight inside her mind, she gives them structure. What exactly is bothering me? What am I afraid of? What is actually within my control? What am I assuming? What evidence do I have? That internal dialogue can become a powerful form of self-awareness. Because an intelligent woman doesn't only study the world around her. She studies herself. And that leads to the seventh habit. She spends time reflecting on her mistakes, not obsessing, not punishing herself, reflecting. After something goes wrong, she doesn't only ask, who was responsible? She asks, what did I miss? What could I have done differently? What did this experience teach me? What pattern do I need to stop repeating? That is a completely different mindset. An immature person looks for someone to blame. A growing person looks for something to learn. And highly intelligent women understand something powerful. Every mistake contains information. Every failed relationship can reveal a pattern. Every disappointment can reveal an expectation. Every painful experience can reveal a boundary that was missing. She doesn't need to romanticize suffering. She simply refuses to waste it. The eighth strange habit is that she can say no without giving a long explanation. This is where people often become uncomfortable with her, because she's no longer trying to make everyone happy. If she doesn't want to go somewhere, she can say no. If something violates her values, she can walk away. If someone repeatedly disrespects her, she doesn't need 10 conversations to prove that she deserves respect. She understands that boundaries don't require permission. This doesn't mean she's cold. It means she has learned that kindness without boundaries can become self-abandonment. A highly intelligent woman eventually realizes that her time, attention, energy, and emotional availability are limited resources. So she becomes selective, not because she thinks she's better than everyone, because she finally understands that giving everything to everyone leaves nothing for herself. The ninth habit is perhaps the strangest of all. She is comfortable saying, I don't know. Think about how rare that is. Most people are terrified of appearing uninformed. They would rather give a wrong answer than admit they don't know. But an intelligent woman doesn't see ignorance as an identity. She sees it as a temporary gap. I don't know, but I can learn. Those words reveal enormous confidence, because only someone who doesn't need to protect her ego can admit what she doesn't know. She isn't embarrassed by questions, she asks them. She isn't threatened when someone else knows more. She becomes curious, because real intelligence doesn't constantly ask, how can I prove I'm better? It asks, what can I learn here? And the 10th habit may be the most powerful of all. She outgrows people, environments, and even versions of herself. At first, this can look like inconsistency. 1 year she wants one life. A few years later, she wants something completely different. Her priorities change. Her circle changes. Her standards change. Her definition of success changes. And people may say, you've changed. She's not offended, because she knows she is supposed to change. Growth means becoming someone you weren't before. The woman who once tolerated disrespect may eventually refuse it. The woman who once needed constant validation may eventually become comfortable with silence. The woman who once chased people may eventually stop chasing anyone. The woman who once feared being alone may eventually discover that solitude is where she found herself. But intelligence without emotional maturity can become arrogance. Observation without compassion can become judgment. Solitude without connection can become isolation. Boundaries without empathy can become walls. So the goal isn't to become a woman who thinks she's smarter than everyone. The goal is to become a woman who understands herself deeply enough that she doesn't need to prove anything. Because the most intelligent woman in the room isn't always the one speaking the most. Sometimes she's the one listening, watching, thinking, learning, and choosing her response carefully. She doesn't need to win every argument. She doesn't need everyone to understand her. She doesn't need to convince people of her worth. She knows who she is. And once a woman reaches that level of self-awareness, something changes. She becomes difficult to manipulate, difficult to impress with empty words, difficult to control through guilt, because her foundation is no longer built on how other people see her. It's built on how clearly she sees herself. And perhaps that is the real secret behind highly intelligent women. They don't spend their lives trying to appear intelligent. They spend their lives becoming wiser. And there is a world of difference between the two.